Good morning. Good morning. Good morning, everyone. So I don't know I don't know why. We have like blurry. I noticed that last week too, them coming live to you from Facebook land. So we shall see what all viewers can. Here we go. All right. Come on. Go back. You guys, this is like such a learning process. Oh, I don't want that because I want to be able to see you guys if you're chatting over here. Hopefully, let's see if I can. It is Saturday, March 18th, I believe. Is that what I got? Yeah, March 18th. Oh my goodness. Day after St. Patrick's Day. How was your St. Patrick's Day? I stayed home. I worked in that industry for so long that I know. It's like not in the St. Patrick's industry, but I worked in the hospitality industry, and that is one holiday I do not like to engage in. It gets crazy nuts, and I'm a sober person, and I can only take it for so long, and then I'm out of there. I'm like, I gotta go. Because have you noticed that like the drunker people get us, like they feel like they can't or like you can't hear them or something, and next thing you know they're all like all up in your face and blah blah blah. And all I can smell is alcohol, and I'm like, I can hear you, you're screaming in my head, and keeps me sober. I freaking love that. Love that. Which takes us right into today's episode on gratitude. And do we react, or what do you do? How do you act to certain situations? And I want to talk to you about body shaming. That happened to me last week, and it really knocked the wind out of my sails. And well, we're gonna chat about that. So here's what happened. I decided that I'm going to take a walk early morning here, because in the afternoons it's just ridiculously hot. I'm living down in Cape Coral at the moment, and it gets ridiculously hot in the afternoon. So I decided to go take a walk early morning, and I want to start this new habit, get in this new routine, just really start doing things differently. And so I'm out taking a walk. I got my earbuds in. I'm listening to whatever it is I'm listening to. And and I'm at a stoplight, and it was my turn to walk across the street, and I could hear someone yelling something. And I'm like, so I take my earbud out, and I'm on the sidewalk now. I turn around. There's two guys in this beat up old van, this little skinny dude without his shirt on. And I may have talked about this last week. We're going to talk about it again because there's a reason why. And so he takes his shirt off, or he has his shirt off, and he's yelling at me. He's like, "You have a fat blah, blah, blah." And I went, "Thank you." Turned around, put my earbud back in, and I noticed that anybody and everybody that had their windows down heard that whole conversation. And it literally, I didn't react. I didn't do anything. I just said thank you and walked away. However, what happened was, as I walked away, I thought about what he said, and I'm like, I'm thinking a million different things, right? And I'm like, first of all, dude, you don't know my story. And even if you did, would it matter? Probably not, because he has his own idea about, his belief around, fat and whatever else, right? And so, but I'm walking down the street, and it just made me angry. And I thought, oh, really? And I'm like, and then I'm thinking, who are you? Like, what makes you think that I should even care what you think? Like, clearly, dude, you're driving around in a beat up old van, and, a skinny thing that I'm like, for me, I could say that about someone else too, right? Like, everybody has their look that they like, or that they're attracted to, and that's just the reality of life. Like, that is how we have definitely been perceived in different things. So I'm thinking, dude, why do you think I'm walking? Like, why do you think I'm out here? I know that I have a challenge. I have a weight problem right now, and been working on this for the last 7 months. I have a health coach, And I recently just joined a new company I'm so freaking excited about. And so I'm using the products. I'm doing exactly what it is I'm supposed to be doing. So I decided I'm going to go walking, really just put in some extra health benefits, right? So, but it fueled me. So I didn't react to what he said until after. But the reaction was I got angry. And then what happened was I said, you know what? Never, ever, ever will anybody ever call me that ever again. That is never going to happen. And so I took initiative and dug deeper. And so for the last 2 weeks, I have been fasting. And last week I did over a 60-hour fast. This week I did a 52-hour fast this week. And I'm here to say 10 pounds down. Yes! I'm so happy about it. I'm so proud of myself. So instead of keep beating myself up, I took a step, like that first step, like what can I do differently, to get in a different space. And again, though, it has been a lot of health challenges because again, we talk about body shaming. I had breast implants put in, and there was a reason because I was working in the adult entertainment industry. I was a topless dancer at one of the most elite clubs in the United States, and I wanted to fit in with everybody else, and I wanted to make extra money. And I knew that having that perfect figure, that really sexy figure would create those results, right? So I got implants put in until 2011. There was a whole lot of serious health challenges that were going on, and I had a sneaking suspicion that it was totally related to my implants. And so I decided, you know what, these are really old. I'm going to get some new ones. So I did. I had new ones put in. I got a lift and all these things, and all of the symptoms from my other implants disappeared, like completely. I was so freaking excited. Like my memory hadn't done anything at that time, but I had definitely a lot of other health challenges, and my doctor even prescribed, or not prescribed, he put in his little charts that I was a hypochondriac, and I was like, oh, really? Well, let's, again, prove you wrong. And so for the next 12 years up until, 10 years, because 2 years ago I decided to, my glasses keep slipping down, I'm just all sweaty, decided to explant, and I had major health problems before then, and memory being one of them was like the worst. Like I remember walking out of the grocery store in my area where I live, and I didn't even know where I parked my car. And I parked my car in the same area all the time. And I couldn't even remember where I parked my car. So I knew right then and there something very seriously going on here. I got to change whatever it is that it is. And long story, actually, if you look down in YouTube, there's an interview with a girlfriend of mine, Laura Castle. We talked about this, is we actually both had it at the same time, and she thought I was crazy for, even suggesting to her that I thought she had breast implant illness, and she definitely, this girl was literally dying, like it was god awful. And mentally I was. And I'd had all these like red blotches all over the right side of my body, and like just all these different things. And so I decided to go 2 years ago, January 28th, and I explanted. Right after I explanted, my memory came back like 98%. There's still 2% though for the last couple of years that have been, a little wishy-washy. Wishy-washy is not even a word. And anyway, it's been concerning, and my hormones are off the hook, ridiculous, and I have body shamed my own self because I come from a place of weighing 128 to 133 pounds for 15 of the 17 years I was at this place, to when I left I was at 155, which is way more weight than I had ever weighed in my life, to now I'm weighing not even anything I want to talk about. Like, it has been that body shame level of what the heck is going on here. And so I hired a health coach, and she's been working with me diligently. I've been doing the things, and right now I'm doing absolute carnivore and working with my health coach still, and also though I partnered with another company, and the products have been amazingly working for me. So I'm super, super freaking, like I said, excited about that, and I'm just looking forward to what's coming. But it took another step. So you've got to take this step. Well, first of all, you've got to mentally tell yourself what it is you really want, right? So we know what we want, what we don't want, and it's not, we've heard this from every single piece of this industry. It's not a magic pill that's going to make it happen. I've been in another company too, had great results until I didn't anymore. And you just got to keep finding what works for you. And so this company is working. Like I said, I'm super excited about it. But what I freaking love about this, you guys, too, is that there's a supplement in here for your brain. And when I tell you it has shifted like 100%, I am not exaggerating. Like I am full on, can remember everything throughout the entire day. And usually every day I'll have like little blips of, oh man, what I do, or I can't remember what I did a couple days ago. I still have that happen though, and that's just normal because you just get so busy. There's no way you can remember everything anyway, right? So unless you have it written down, and I do journal a lot, like that happens too because I do love to go back and look at my notes. And so anyway, I just wanted to say that not only other people can body shame us, but we body shame ourselves. And so having explanted too, that was a mindset and a mind shift that I had to make for myself to understand that I knew that I was taking off a big piece of my identity, right? So, because our breasts are the thing, people are like, oh my gosh, she's either little or she's huge, well, they're right there, And but I have not body shamed myself about my breasts though. Like I seriously love my little itty bitties now, and the reason that I love it is because I found the gratitude in this. The very first time I was able to hug my littles and I could just feel them was the biggest, most beautiful moment ever. Is when I had my big breasties, my big friends. I couldn't hug my kids. I couldn't hug my grandkids close because they just got in the way. And now it's like heart to heart. Like it's just the most wonderful thing. So I have great gratitude that I was able to take those out and that's happened. Do I know that there is some really, really awful things that have happened to other women that, like, for example, breast cancer and their mastectomies. Like I have seen just unbelievable scarring, and I can't even imagine what they're going through. And so I started reading a book, and here's the other thing, folks. We have a little tiny computer at our hands. We have a plethora of books, in Amazon or wherever books are sold, and we have all the. Sorry guys, I have my phone on. Let me shut this off. And so we have information at our fingertips. Well, I bought a book called Busting Free. I just started it, and already I'm super excited about it. And this author actually goes into the mental piece of all of this. And like I said, for me, I just knew that I wanted to feel better. I wanted to be better. And so for me to get these toxic bags out was like the best thing I could have done for myself. And so I have not done that I've not self-shamed in that respect, but I have self-shaming in the sense of the toxins that have hung on to my internal organs and have disallowed and have disrupted my hormones and have done all the things that just keep blowing me up and inflame me and keep me at a weight that is, to me, disgusting. Right? And it's really weird too, because in my head, like I don't see myself like that. I still see myself as like this, like 133 pounds or even 150. Like I was great at 150 too. So I'm like in between there. I'm like, I like, that's how I see myself. And then I see pictures and I don't even recognize myself. I'm like, oh my God, like, who is that? Like, really, like, who is that? And that's when I decided to make a major shift. And I said, nope, this is not good. Like I said, so I hired someone doing the things, and right now collectively working with both of them together is making a huge difference, and I'm so excited for the new results. So that's one piece of body shaming, is the actual body shaming. So what about this? So I had an incident last weekend, and it literally took the wind out of my sails. We talked right in the beginning. I shared with you I was going to talk about this. So I live in an area where owls, burrowing owls, are a very protected species down here in Cape Florida. And a couple doors down on the other side of this street, and I don't know why these owls do this, but they actually built their burrow really close to the road, which is kind of unusual because everywhere that I have seen them, they're actually farther back up into the yard somewhere, whose every yard that is. Well, these owls are so protected that you can't sell your land. Well, you can sell your land, but you can't build anything on them, and you can't do anything with it as long as the owls are there. Like, that's how protected they are. So these two little owls have their little burrowing little grounds right close to the road, and there happened to be a party down at the house a couple doors down on my side of the street, but the owls were on the other side of the street. So I walked out to take out my garbage, and I looked down the street, and I was like, wait a minute. And I saw this black truck, and I went, oh my God, please tell me that it's not, on the burrows, on the owls. And sure enough, I walk over, and their bumper is literally touching. So there's crosses too. Like, that's a cross is for the main couple, right? That's like, this is like, that mom and dad are here, and more than likely we all believe there's babies down there. So anyway, so the bumper of this car is like right smack up against the tip of the cross, and it's like, what the heck? So I didn't count from 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 and take a breath. Oh no. I reacted, turned right across the street, walked up to the door to this massive party that's going on. It's a baby shower. And I hear a lot of Spanish speaking people, right? And I knock on the door, and they all turn to look at me, and I said, whose car is this over here? And nobody says anything, and a couple people started talking, and then 2 people walked up to me. But I'm so furious that I didn't even realize it was one of the girls whose mom and dad owns the place. Like, and she's there all the time. And I was like, oh, I didn't even realize it till later. But anyway, we'll get to that in a second. So two of the English speaking people walk up to the door, and I go, do you understand what I'm saying? And she said, yes. And I go, let me show you what's going on. So I take her across the street, and I show her. And all of a sudden, it was like all these excuses for whoever's car that was, that, well, they didn't see it, they don't know about the owls. And I said, you know what, like, you honest to goodness couldn't see this? Like, you couldn't, like, see that there's a cross on the road? Like, to me, my brain was like, and I'm passionate about saving these owls, right? 'Cause I just love animals. And so I'm clearly upset, and they're trying to talk to me, and finally I got so angry that I shut down and I walked away. Now, there would have been a time though I would have engaged that conversation and just kept going, but I had already reacted enough that I started setting off a whole series of them being angry, that I just shut down and walked away. I came home, cooled off, and turned around and went back and apologized to that entire group of ladies, and I felt like horrible. It literally shut me down for 3 days. And I have a really amazing, fantastic group on Monday morning, so I went in there, told them what happened, and they were so encouraging and so inspiring and so enlightening that they just lifted me up, and they were doing their best. I still had to work through the ugly, right? Like, I had to work through that shame of, how dare I be such a mean person? Like, that's not who I am anymore, and that's not who I ever wanted to be in the first place. I felt that, during my days of being mean and sticking up for myself in the sense of, you blah, 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 was the way to do things, to get my point across and get you to pay attention to me. Because my whole life, what I didn't understand until just this last year, the reason I do the things I did is because I didn't feel seen or heard. Right? I didn't feel validated for my feelings, so there was going to be some way, somehow, that I was going to react and I'm going to show you and I'm going to tell you that this is how it is, right? And so I shamed myself for 3 days, and it was a learning experience, a huge growing experience. And I'm sharing this with you because we all go through all the things. Like, you're learning and you're growing and you're doing and you're becoming somebody else, and you're in these uncomfortable situations. I just want to come and tell you that it's okay. So what I had to do was get through that, and because what happened to was I validated the I'm not good enough. See, told you, you're too loud, you're too obnoxious, you're too this, you're too that. I validated that, and it crushed me. And then I had to give myself some time to breathe, take the space to say, you know what, that was a learning experience. So what can I do differently that prayerfully never happens again? But if it happens, what can I do differently to make the change? First of all, number one is breathe, right? Just count, like Mel Robbins has taught me. I love listening to her videos. You can find her on YouTube too. And by the way, I have a YouTube link for where I'm at. I would love for you to go hit subscribe for me. This video will be dropped in there later. And so number one is 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Take a breath before we think. And what happens is our cortex will open, and it won't be so closed in, and that anger will dissipate, and we can get into the next step. Step 2, clearly figure out what it is, the solution is that you want to have happen. What you want versus what you don't want. So then you can teach yourself to stop being so reactive as what I did. Is, again, I didn't take the time, and so I just went off, and then it kept going. And then the stories were in there too, is the neighbor that lives there actually knows me, but didn't know that it was me at the door. She was actually in another room. And so somebody had said, wow, you got a really mean person living downstairs. She's like, oh, we have a Karen. And I went, oh no, that is not, I never want to have that label, ever, never, ever. And I certainly don't ever want to be filmed ever in that either. And so you just got to really be conscious of your surroundings, conscious of what you say, conscious of what you do, as you never know what's going on, right? So I was like, oh my gosh. So thirdly, that is, the third thing is so you found this, so you take a minute to breathe, you find the solution, and then what is the third thing? It's one, you make your amends, and or both, and forgiveness, right? So I had to forgive myself also, to stop being so hard on myself and to stop validating, what it was that I had been telling myself. Because I have grown a lot, and being here in Cape Coral for the last 10 months has really put me in a whole different space of learning. And let me tell you, this last few days, knowing that I'm going back to Minnesota has been another growing experience, because I'm like, you know what? I know that if I had been on the East Coast versus the West Coast, life would have been completely different. Completely. And for whatever the reason I chose to come here, I immediately just moved in because the opportunity happened and I just took it. And knowing just a few months into it that this was not the side of the state I needed or wanted to be, or not that I didn't need to be here, but didn't want to be here. However, though, I just feel like I'm taking the gratitude and using gratitude as a gift for all these learning experiences, to know what I want, what I don't want moving forward. So moving forward, being a snowbird, I will be on the East Coast, not the West Coast. I know that. And, and I think too, I'm like, wow, who knows, maybe I just might buy a condo on the East Coast, and my family, then we really can come down, to Florida and visit very, very often. So that is really the goal. So I'm super, super excited about that. So we have, so what can we do about these life experiences? So when I shared you the story about the owls, I was passionate about the owls. And then secondly, again, this guy calling me names and feeling the shame of acting like a total complete, not nice person at a baby shower, that they were just having a wonderful time. And then in comes walking this psycho, and then, it wasn't that bad, but to me, I was, because I don't ever like to be that way to anybody ever again. Like, I seriously, my gratitude for people has grown 800%. Like, I absolutely love people, and I just want to see the best for people. I want to encourage people to be their best, do their best, and just bring a lot of positivity into the world, because we have enough negativity going. I don't want to be another person to do that. And then secondly, again, when we talked about this kid, that told me I had a fat tush, right? And again, it made me angry, but it also excelled me into taking action to, like really taking action. Not that I haven't, because we shared that, but really taking massive action, like just elevating. My word of the year is elevate. And so to me, it was just elevating it to the next level. So what steps can I do to elevate to the next level? So I'm asking you, what are the things that have been happening to you lately that you do not feel good about, that you've been validating? So I'm going to ask you for you to take a really good long look at yourself and forgive yourself for that, and say, you know what? Now that I know, what can I do different to do something different? All right, so I'm going to leave you with that. I'm really, really working on keeping this at 30 minutes for you guys every Saturday, and I meet here with you every Saturday at 11 Eastern. However, next Saturday, I may or may not be here. My friend is coming from Minnesota, and he is driving me back to Minnesota. And so we may or may not be on the road that day. So I'm not certain if I'll be in. I might even come in live. I think I'm actually going on a boat ride. So if I am, I'll see if I can try to come in by boat. Okay. All right. And then, you guys, I have another big surprise. Ooh. Today I'm going to go and do something that I'm going to show you next week, if not the week for sure after. All right. So I am so looking forward to seeing and talking with you again. I want to thank you so much for being here. I absolutely freaking stinking love you. And you have a fabulous Saturday and a great rest of your week. And again, go on the link, go to YouTube, subscribe. And if you like what you see, what you hear, please share it out. I would love for that to happen. All right, everyone. Thank you. Take care. Bye now. Mwah.